Kia ora mai tātou, na mihi nui naku ki a koutou katoa. After an introduction like that, you always fall from grace. So you're going to have to forgive them. I'm going to ask you to trust me for something. Tonight, I've heard some really cool stuff where people have put themselves at risk to try and talk about the heart of that question, of the relationship between creativity and leadership. In the world of film, there's a kind of a standard saying that is, show, don't tell. So I'm going to try another approach. I'm going to try and touch an idea by showing something. I'm not going to ask you to mime, it's all right. But you have got a bit of paper somewhere near close to you. There's a book. And there's probably a pen on the table. And if there's not a pen on the table, there might be one in your pocket or somewhere. I'm going to show you something extraordinary about you that is also extraordinary about every human being you work with. And I want to do it with this. You know, one of the things that I really come to understand my country when I come back to it. You know how oftentimes we travel overseas, but we get great insights into ourselves when we come home, more than we could if we'd stayed here. And one of the things that I love about this country is these things. I'm not an advocate for the apple and pear board or anything. It's just that I love it when I go into a shop and there are 8 of these different kinds of things to choose. You know, most of us have probably got, if there's a choice, we've probably got one kind of apple that we would pick. If you have, write down the name. If you were in a fruit shop and there was a range, what is the apple that you would go for? After all your experience of eating these things, what is the one you'd go for? Write it down. It'll help if you do write this if you can, because this is something that will take away. Even you go, I can't see the value of it, just trust me, okay? Okay, now, if you haven't been able to write it, I want you to put it in your head. And I want you to really think about what that apple looks like and what it feels like. And now I'm going to ask you to do something. You know, when you get a bad apple and you bite into it, it tastes like wet flour. You know, it's crap. But when you get a great apple, it's something you know why this has become so famous across history, why its iconography has appeared in so many stories. It's an amazing, magical thing when you bite into an apple and it delivers on its promise, right? And this is what I want you to do. Think about that apple that you just talked about, whatever variety it is. I want you to close your eyes. And now I want you to just see if you can come up with a word or a description of what it tastes like when you bite into it, snap it off, and the juice rolls across your tongue. I want you to get a word or a phrase. Now write it down. Okay. Now I'll show you something. It's not a magic trick. It's all right. Okay. What did you write down?
2 words,
sweet and crunch. What did you write down?
Crunchy, delicious.
Crunchy, delicious. What did you write down? Crisp.
I wrote down
Crisp. Juicy. Absolutely divine. Cool. Crunchy deliciousness. Now, I'll show you something really interesting. Probably bollocks to all of those descriptions, because... Did you manage to get that one out? Bollocks? Go. Okay. Let me show you something amazing about this thing. Now, if you really bit into this, and I said to you this, remove any constraints from yourself. You can be as poetic or metaphoric as you want. I want you to close your eyes again. Now you bite into that apple, you feel the crunch as it breaks off in your mouth, and that juice rolls across your tongue. And now you cannot be wrong. Be as adventurous as you like and describe the taste of that apple, what it really, really tastes like. Don't worry, you can be as far out there as you want to go. But what you need to do is capture what that feels like for you. A phrase, metaphors, whatever it is. But be brave. Try it. I'm going to give you a minute to do this, so you don't have to come up straight away. Just try it. What does it really, really taste like? Okay. Now, I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them what you wrote. I want you to share that. You've got 20 seconds. Go. Okay, stop. Stop. Now, did anybody here, they heard something amazing? Was anyone shown an amazing description of the taste of that? Can you tell us what was it? Oh, all right. Marauding pirates setting sail of the taste buds of time. Oh my God. Oh, if we had mouths like that, that's wonderful. Somebody else. Yes. What'd you get? Yeah, I'm sorry you got sprung. Go on, here you go. Stand there, there's a mic there.
Sunshine warmed life essence on a dewy field at dawn.
Oh, beautiful. Did you all hear that? Can I do this? Sunshine warmed life essence on a dewy field at dawn. Yeah. What do we get here? The fresh air in the Alps that Heidi grew up in, and the sweet smell of flowers in the meadow. Do you know, as human beings, we taste like that. We can taste like that. That's how we experience anything as mundane as an apple. You know, the interesting thing is, the reason you said juicy or sweet or crunchy was because you have an editor on your shoulder. They're going to go to bed with you tonight. They'll be up with you tomorrow morning. They'll be in the shower with you. And they teach you to think in a socially acceptable way. They teach you a kind of compliant obedience. And they are the most toxic thing you can have to creativity. They're the one that tells you, no, you might sound silly, or it might not work, or you might look like a dick. They do that all the time. They've grown up from the time you were a little kid, and they're very skilled, and most of the time we don't realize that they're sitting beside you right now. But they bite that and taste juicy, and you bite it and taste summer or meadow. Inside you is this creature who dances on a different horizon, who has a way of understanding something as simple as the taste of an apple in beautiful, beautiful ways. Creativity is simply, I would argue, disobedient thought. It's when we disobey the editor who tells us socially how to construct, and we reach into, it's in that second thing you wrote, those two descriptions, they are both you. It's the one at the top who's the one you tend to call on in the immediate. So here's the thing to think of. Tomorrow, your editor will be walking when you went walking with you or driving with you when you go to work. But the first human being that you sit down with and you work with, remember that although they may say crunch or sweet, they are capable of tasting summer in an apple. Thank you.